adopted a one-to-one technology integration initiative to get technology into the hands of our students so they can be a part of 21st century learning, career and college readiness. We are currently in the early stages of this deployment. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions regarding this initiative and implementation?
Sure.
Okay. What do you as an administrator hope to see teachers doing to implement this new technology this year?
Well, right now, most of the teachers just have one iPad per classroom. So what I hope to see them doing is thinking about how they can use that iPad with their whole class. Number one, modeling good digital citizenship for their students. Number two, learning about some opportunities that they can do as a whole class, but that eventually students might be able to do more on their own when they have their own iPad. So.
What is a long-term goal for your building as far as technology use?
Well, definitely like one-to-one for all grades.
Okay. Do you see this happening district-wide? One-to-one district-wide?
With a lot of positive community awareness, I think it's possible.
Okay. Where is funding for the purchase of teacher and student iPads coming from?
Right now, we're repurposing curriculum monies. So money that was formerly spent on textbooks is being used to purchase the lease agreement with the iPads. So, and therefore, some courses that normally would have purchased like a big old science textbook or a history textbook aren't doing that, but they can access it through an online book source.
And do you feel those students that are not yet having the iPad right there in their hand are going to benefit still from having an iPad instead of a textbook, one per classroom?
Well, at our level, I think the classrooms that don't have the one-to-one right now will still have their textbooks.
Okay.
You know, our level we do, and at the high school level they do.
Just
so
not purchasing new textbooks.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
What do you see as some possible issues behaviorally, and how will those be handled? So, for example, if a student is misusing the iPad during instruction, how are those going to be handled?
Well, I think it's really going to come back to the classroom teacher to set up, procedures and routines that will hopefully encourage students to utilize it appropriately. And they may lose privileges for, I would say, a short amount of time, but hopefully earn them back quickly, because our goal is that they utilize those for learning. So.
And with such a free and reduced population, how are you going to handle monetary issues at home as far as parents can't afford internet, so this is not going to be beneficial for their students? How is that going to be handled?
I think we'll need to publicize some opportunities around town where they can go and get free internet. There are hot spots around town that, like the public library, they can go and log on to the internet there, McDonald's, places like that. I think we need to kind of promote those and try to help families. We may even eventually have, some open nights here at school where they can bring in their iPads and utilize, for homework purposes.
And do you feel that would even increase our building goal of parent community involvement with the school?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Is the district fearful of lost, stolen, or missing iPads with such a transient, low-income population?
Well, I think that's, the lease agreement helps with that, because if we lose an iPad, we're not just like, it's not the big $600 purchase thing. Again, I think that it's our responsibility as the adults in the building to really promote, the importance of, being careful with them, with the devices, so.
What does the long-term funding look like for upkeeping and updating the technology that we're now getting in the district?
Well, to my knowledge, right now we have enough to fund one more year of another 3 grade levels, one-to-one, and then after that we'll have to look at alternative sources, which may be to the public, and it may be through other it's hard to tell what the state funding will look like, so we're not really sure yet.
Okay, can you give teachers advice on balancing instruction and integrating, modeling, and teaching students how to appropriately use this technology all at the same time?
Well, in a short little interview question, I think we need to I think you need to weigh very carefully when you are planning for instruction. Think about what would I have normally done and how could it look different now that I have this one iPad in my classroom, or for fifth graders that are getting them in January. How might that look now that every child has an iPad? So changing what we're doing. You know, it really is an integration system. It's not, separate from, you're not teaching technology at a separate time of the day or anything like that. It's very much that you start to do things a little differently because now you have that device and that access.
All right. And is there anything else you would like anybody that is also considering having one-to-one integration, any advice, precautions, anything else you'd like just the general populace to know?
Well, I think it will take time for everyone to be comfortable and everyone to feel, the parent group to feel like this is something that's safe and is valuable for my child. I believe there's a lot of parents out there who do believe it would be valuable for their child. They just can't afford it. So I think it requires a lot of patience from everyone in terms of just the process of implementation, and it's going to take time for everyone to really get on board and feel comfortable and confident in utilizing them.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
You are welcome.